Is DeFi dead? That's all I'm seeing on my timeline at the moment. So a lot of it's got to do with the big drop in prices from the highs, and people saying, "Yeah, the bubble's burst." Really, I don't believe that's true. I don't think even we were in a bubble, because no hairdressers were talking about how we need to go into yield farming. Those are what real bubbles are about. The bubble is when the general public, who really knows nothing about the topic, is really getting into it because of the rise in price and nothing more. So is it a bubble? I don't think so. I think we're just in a healthy pullback. We're in a bit of a corrective phase, and we're going to be heading higher within DeFi. That being said, where we're at the moment, I want to dive into what I think the top 5 altcoins you should be owning, regardless of the DeFi movement. Coming in at number 5, we're looking at Cardano, or ADA BTC. As you can see, we're coming out of a very nice descending wedge, MACD divergence, everything we're looking for, with a really strong pop out of that. So a really nice impulse off the lows, nice little double bottom on the very low time frames. And now we've gone into a little bit of a corrective structure. It looks like a bit of a bull flag. No real structure in it at the moment, but it definitely has indications for more upside. So kind of a break of this trend line is a good indication that we're heading higher. Upside targets, hard to say, but definitely worth looking at in terms of at the very least, a very short-term trade. I like to hold on to something like this a little bit more long-term, given the fundamentals behind a company like Cardano. I know they're rolling out their new phase of their roadmap, which is the Gauge-1 era, which they're talking about implementing smart contracts. And not only implementing smart contracts, but making them very accessible to people without any previous knowledge. As you can see here, the Gauge-1 era also encompasses work to make Cardano accessible to wider audiences via Marlowe, allowing financial and business experts with no previous technical knowledge to create smart contracts. So it's really cool that they're starting to bring scalability, and not just scalability, but usability. So they've gone through foundation, they've created some decentralization, and they're now starting to implement smart contracts in a way that allows it to be very accessible to those without the knowledge of smart contracts and the deep programming knowledge required for smart contracts. So really interesting things going on at Cardano, and the chart looks really good for a break to the upside. So definitely adding that to the list at number 5. Number 4 on the list is Nexus Mutual, the insurer for DeFi contracts. As you can see, pretty much the same as Cardano, where we have this nice descending wedge with a bit of MACD divergence and starting to test that upper boundary of the upper trend line. So we could see a break out of this pretty soon. I really like Nexus Mutual as a long-term hold as well, because of the fundamentals around the company. If we take a look at some of the numbers which Nexus Mutual is putting out, where we see the active cover amount is upwards of $200 million, or 625,000 ETH. As you can see, really strong climb from July into September, kind of matching along with the DeFi boom. And if this number starts to climb, which it easily could, because an important number down here is total value locked in DeFi covered as a percentage. We're only looking at about 2% of DeFi locked in as being covered by insurance. And I think insurance is going to start to become a really big part of the space as the space starts to grow, and as the amount of money going into that space, and potentially the amount of money that could be lost that needs to be insured, starts to really climb. So really like Nexus Mutual as a long-term hold as well. Coming in at number 3, we're looking at Polkadot, or DOT BTC. This is more of a technical trade and not too based on the fundamentals. It's more of a short-term trade. For those of you that know us, we like to trade price structure, and price structure at the moment on DOT is looking really good for a little bit of a push higher from here. So what we'll be looking at here is this is your A wave. So what we would expect now is a little bit of an ABC, the C wave to come soon, with a push up towards probably around about this 4.6 all the way up to potentially this 5.0 region. So a really nice trade. If we start to see that move up towards our minimum target at around about this 4.6, you're looking at about 25% increase. So a really nice little short-term trade. And if it goes all the way up, you're looking at about 36%. That, I think, is going to be a little bit of a short-term trade, because to follow that move, we should see a push down back towards the lows, and probably down towards this 0.03 region. So in terms of fundamentals, I like the long term of DOT, but I just think short term, the technical trade is a little bit of a short term trade, and I would like to buy it longer term down at this 0.3 region following this rally and then the drop in DOT. So short term trade in DOT, really nice to own over, say, the next few days, the next week, up towards this 46 to 50 region. Coming in at number 2 is Aave, Lend BTC. This is again a more technical trade. We're looking at a really nice clean price structure with a good indication that we're going to push higher from this region up towards kind of the 60 to 69 region. Really nice looking trade. Got a little bit of MACD divergence at the bottom here. Nice little push up from the lows, which is a good indication that we have turned and we are heading higher. It's very much the same as that price structure, very clean little B wave ABC, and that is encompassing a nice, much bigger degree ABC corrective structure. So again, we're trading the C wave to the upside. Should be a nice, quick, strong push up. And again, just a short-term trade into this 60 to 70 region before, again, I expect another turn to the downside. So very much along the same lines as Polkadot trade, but very nice upside when we're looking at it from the lows up to our minimum targets. You're looking at least 58% increase, and full targets, you're looking at around about 85% increase. The one caution I have for this is that Aave is busy migrating their tokens from Lend to a new token called Aave, so I don't know how that's going to affect everything here. So just be cautious of that with your trading and be sure you know what's happening with that. But from a technical point of view, it's looking like a really clean trade and a really nice upside target. Coming in at number 1, we're looking at one of the OGs, or the crypto OGs, Zcash. As you can see, we had a nice bounce off the lows at 0.36 and really strong impulse from there. And then straight away, we go into a little bit of a corrective structure. So technically speaking, it's a really clean price structure to trade to the upside. But it's also interesting that fundamentally, we're going into Zcash's first halving, and really good potential upside on this one if this is the bottom for Zcash. Zcash has had inflationary issues before because it is one of the highest inflation cryptos out there, but this will effectively halve its inflation rate, really could lead to a boost in Zcash's value. As we speak, if we take it just as a move back up to recent highs as part of Zcash's halving, we're looking at a 56% increase. But there's a good potential that what we're seeing here is a bottom in Zcash and potentially a takeoff to the upside, seeing that some of those inflationary issues have kind of solved themselves with the next halving. So Zcash, really interesting to see a really clean technical picture at a time where their halving is occurring, which can solve a lot of their issues. So in terms of holding some Zcash, we think it's a really good upside compared to the downside. We don't see it going much more below this 3.7 region. As you can see, quite a strong floor in this region. Seen 2 higher lows now, and we could really start to see some upside. So that brings Zcash to number 1 on our list, and definitely worth holding in your portfolio. So that's it, traders. That's what we think top 5 alts you should be holding. As you know, altcoins are in a bit of a bear market at the moment with the kind of collapse of DeFi. But we still think there's still some upside to come. We think it's a little bit of a short-term correction that's going to be playing out for the next probably month or 2 while crypto finds its feet once again. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be holding any alts in our portfolio. And like we've said, these top 5 should be in there. It should be a decent chunk of your portfolio given their upside potential. So really good upside risk reward. As always, keep your risk management nice and tight, keep your stops nice and tight, and stay nimble.